What's up, everybody? It's me, Melanie Mac, here on my new channel, Melanie Mac Go Boom. Thank you so much to everybody who's watching and hanging out and all that kind of good stuff. So, today I'm talking about Amazon's Lord of the Rings again because we're getting a Super Bowl trailer today, and I will react to that probably. Not necessarily react because I'm already going to watch it while I watch the Super Bowl, but I will probably make another video maybe tomorrow addressing that. Just depends on what it looks like and how, yeah, we'll see. I'll play that one by ear, but yeah, happy Super Bowl Sunday. Before I really dive in here, first of all, I'm curious who y'all are pulling for. I'm a Steelers fan, but for some reason I'm pulling for the Bengals on this. I don't know, that's just what I'm going for. So, anyway, I'm going to go to my brother's house, and we are going to enjoy the Super Bowl festivities. I'm excited. It'll be a good time. So, I gotta hurry up and get this video up before I go. So, let me continue. Now, one thing that we keep seeing in a lot of properties that get woke washed is that they incorporate certain elements to where it almost makes them feel invincible, where it's like, you can't criticize our work now because if you do, then you're a misogynist or whatever else they want to call you. I got a new mic stand, by the way. So I don't have to have that giant arm all over the place. I love it. This is just a lot more convenient. So anyway, let me go ahead and dive in because that's exactly what they're doing. And the retweets are already flowing. Okay. They're getting what they wanted out of this whole marketing promotion campaign, all that kind of stuff. They don't even have to do it. They know that other people are going to do it for them and it's going to get them a ton of likes and retweets. But let me just show y'all and then I'll dive in further. So, hold on. Let me move this. Okay. I'm a little off center. All right. So, she makes this tweet. Okay, first of all, she's referencing this. The Critical Drinker made this tweet, and he said, this single image is what burning $1 billion looks like. Good luck, Amazon. You'll need it. And I agree. Now, she's addressing the people who responded to it, right? So we have Sarah J. Random here. They're kind of clowning. They're kind of being a little hyperbolic for funsies. And making jokes about like the gender swap Frodo and Sarah on the Black, all that kind of stuff. Just making jokes and then talking about making Sam and Frodo gay. And then making making some jokes there. And so she says melting down at a picture of a woman so badly that you start writing gay fan fiction. So essentially, the straw man here saying, oh, you just hate so bad that there's a woman in this picture, which obviously that's not the issue. But that's what they do. They straw man us and they gaslight us. They gaslight us fans of existing properties whenever things aren't faithful. And they gaslight us into thinking that, or into some sort of this ist, calling us some sort of ist. Like that's the issue instead of our actual reasonable issue at hand. And what's so ironic here is to act like, oh yeah, they just made up this gay fan fiction. Like Twitter ain't got headcanon of people insisting that Sam and Frodo are a couple. It's incessant. Like I've been following Lord of the Rings, the topic on Twitter for, I don't know, a couple years now. And I'm always seeing it. Always seeing people insist that Sam and Frodo were a couple, despite the fact that Sam married Rosie and all that kind of stuff. Like, oh, well, maybe they're poly, maybe they're this, maybe they're that. And it's just, it's so insulting to take someone else's work, and especially when they're not with us right now, and so they can't set the record straight, and you force your headcanon on it. And it's usually people self-inserting, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. You know, I'm all for new properties having stuff. If you want your representation in it, great. But don't force your headcanon on somewhere where it doesn't belong and self-insert yourself into it. I don't get what's up with that, first of all, but it is what it is. You know, if the tables were turned here, how would they feel about that? You know? That's all I'm saying. So Then this guy goes, they're making fun of him. Then they got to make everything political. Like this is a political issue. Like some Tolkien fan they must be a right winger if they have an issue with it. It's the gaslighting for me. And then they make this statement, like these memes, like white nerds looking at the casting of fantasy shows. Okay, well, what they're completely undermining and invalidating people who aren't white, who are fans of these shows and or properties, having an issue with it. Because if you think it's only white nerds that have an issue with it, you're wrong. You know? There are plenty of other people who don't want to be tokenized. I'm one of them. I don't want to be tokenized. I don't want a character who was portrayed as a very feminine woman to be more masculinized in the name of empowerment. It just, especially when Galadriel was already so ridiculously empowering. Dude, way more empowering. So, this tweet here, I agree with. And just look at 40,000 likes on here. They got their retweets and they got their likes. They got what they wanted. This is that whole marketing strategy. I don't know if Twitter likes is going to make up for $1 billion budget, but we'll see. Now, the OneRing.com says here, pointed this, I just think they really made a very good observation here. They said Elrond, the herald of Gil-galad, who fought in the last alliance, is now a canny architect. Galadriel, who never fought in the War of Wrath or Last Alliance, is now a commander of armies. It's the woke rewriting of Tolkien into beta males and alpha females. And that's exactly what it feels like. And here's the thing, if they want to make their own story, they want to make their own property, they want to make their own fantasy universe, and they want all the dudes to be beta and all the women to be alpha, you know what? Whatever. But when you're taking an existing property that's beloved, that so many people love, and the creator isn't even alive to have any input on it, it's insulting. And so here's like a little bit of a conversation here where this guy says, the fact that the Tolkien estate had full veto power over this project and still allowed for this bastardization of Middle-earth to happen, they have lost all credibility from here on out. I will never trust the Tolkien estate again. Then Excalibur replies, I think it was Christopher's sons who had power over the estate on their father's passing. It was known that Christopher and one of his kids were estranged because his kid wanted to expand the mythology to the public. This is the result. And, you know, I think there are some rumors that that's one reason why it has taken them so freaking long to reveal anything about this project or to release anything, is because they were waiting for Christopher to die. Who knows? That might not be true, but just saying. So you scroll down here and you see this, and he says, see, here you have a little comparison. On the left, there is Elrond, one of the greatest warriors of the Second Age. And on the right, you have the Amazon Elrond, a politically ambitious elvish statesman. What a joke. My dog's barking. So, I mean, dude, this ain't it. It's not, you're taking a very masculine character here and feminizing him. And you know what? There ain't plenty of characters that they can portray in a more feminine way if they wanted a feminine dude. It's not like they couldn't. But Elrond? It's sad, dude. Oh, and look down here. When you just see, look at that. Just the refresh, just to refresh your memory of how we've seen Galadriel portrayed in the Lord of the Rings trilogy of movies. Just ethereal, very feminine. And this woman was powerful. I would be 1,000,000 times more scared of this Galadriel than this other one. because she was fierce. You don't have to masculinize a woman to make her powerful, and it feels insulting to me. It feels like it's tokenism. It feels like it's pandering, and I don't like it. And it's not just white nerds, white male nerds who have issues with this kind of stuff, but that's the gaslighting, as they do. Anytime we want something to be accurate, anytime we have any issue with anything, we get gaslit into being called a misogynist or a racist or whatever else, instead of actually addressing. And here's the thing, is a lot of these people are like, they have no idea about what's going on. Also, they try to throw Eowyn in this, completely unaware of the fact that nobody had an issue with Eowyn in armor and fighting. Eowyn, I loved her. A lot of us loved her. It's the fact that they felt like they had to transform a very feminine Galadriel into this. And I already said that in my last video about this. We already had Eowyn. We don't need Eowyn 2.0 or Eowyn negative point, Eowyn 0.5. We don't need it. So anyway, I'm very curious to see what the trailer is going to look like at the Super Bowl, and we'll see how I feel. I might make a video about that tomorrow. I'm not gonna get a chance to today because I'm gonna go watch Super Bowl at my brother's house. He's like an hour away, so I'm gonna be staying all night there, but I'll get back here on Monday, so we'll see if it's noteworthy enough for me to even want to make a video about it. But yeah, like I said earlier, they're getting their retweets, they're getting their likes in droves, but our 40,000 likes gonna equate to a $1 billion plus, making up that $1 billion plus budget. We'll see. Now, as I like to do, I like to end my videos with a Bible verse, so I'm going to do that right now. This is something that my pastor spoke on today, and it just really hit me hard. He went over some things that I talked about in my last video when I was talking about that the problems with like the Puritan culture and movement, and it really validated me in a lot of ways, because like what he said was a lot of what I said. Now that's not what the whole sermon was about. It was just a tidbit, but the fact that he mentioned it, I was like, wow, that's awesome. It made me feel validated, like I said, because I was already worried about even making that video. So that was nice. Now, it also, the reason why I wanted to kind of expand on this, and this is what my pastor also talked about, and he said it so well, and it made me think about some of the comments that I got on that video, and there were some where people were feeling guilty because it hit a nerve for them because it happened to be their weakness, and they were feeling incredibly guilty and feeling saying some very, very harsh things about themselves, and some self-hatred feels that came across there. It just broke my heart to see that. And so I really wanted to share this to kind of expand on that and tell you that it's okay. All right. Because you're human. If you have whatever sin it may be that you struggle with, you know, that's in your heart, that you struggle with from your heart, you're human. Congratulations. We all have our own sin in our heart and in our minds that not everybody sees, like honestly that nobody sees. And hey, we're human, okay? And that this is why Jesus needed to make this sacrifice, is because we can't get ourselves into heaven through self-righteousness, because we're human. So I'm going to read this and then just kind of expand a little bit on that. So basically, Jesus, he called Levi to be his disciple. And so he went out and he saw Levi, who was a tax collector. And he said to him, "Follow me." And leaving everything, Levi rose and followed Jesus. And Levi made a great feast for Jesus in his house. And there was a large company of tax collectors and others reclining at the table with them. So other sinners and things like that. So the Pharisees, who were basically the self-righteous peeps, and who I I see so many parallels with the wokies with Pharisees, the whole self-righteous thing. So the Pharisees had an issue with it, and they grumbled at Jesus' disciples, and they're saying, "Why do you eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners?" And Jesus answered them and said, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance." And the way that my pastor described this really, I think was great, and it really put a lot of things into perspective, and it made me think a lot about the comments that I got from people who were struggling with guilt. And in this kind of situation, God gave us free will. God didn't want to force us into righteousness. And because of that, Jesus couldn't do anything for the Pharisees because they're self-righteous, and because they have free will, and that's not something that Jesus would interfere with. He's basically like, all right, I ain't here to help you since you're so perfect. I'm here to help people who need me. And that's the thing, is obviously the Pharisees aren't perfect. They're busy pointing out the log in other people's not the log. They're busy pointing out the peg in other people's eyes because they can't even see the log in their own. They're not even seeing their own issues and judgmentalness and blaming other people for their sin, and so ostracizing people so that they won't be guilty by association. And one thing that is just beautiful about this is it's just like, hey, those of you who have expressed that you feel guilt over certain things and things from your heart and your own struggles, hey, that shows that you need a savior. Just like I do too, because I have all kinds of shortcomings too, just because I don't verbalize all of them. You don't know what's going on in my head and my heart all the time either. So don't beat yourself up. This is why, Jesus died for us. And just give it to God. Because there are certain things you're going to have to struggle with the rest of your life. Certain sin that you're not ever going to be able to fully overcome. But Jesus has overcome the world. So give it to God. And don't beat yourself up over it. It's a wonderful thing that you try. And yeah. So I wanted to share that to hopefully alleviate some of that guilt that some may have felt from my last video, because I did not want anybody to beat themselves up over it. We're all sinners, and we're human, and that's why we need Jesus, and Jesus loved you enough to die for you. So that's good enough for me too. So anyway, that's that. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing your thoughts in the comments. And I'll see you next time. Peace. I won't obey.